Welcome to My Teacher program, UAE's biggest classroom. Today we have Dr. Shobna Sadishan with us. She's the head of the department, Sharjah Indian School Boys Chemistry Department, and today she's going to give you classes about solid state. It is a continuation class, hopefully last week before last week. She has given you a class about solid state, and dear students, that in case of any time, if you got any doubt, please feel free as to give us a call on the number which is given below, and 3939 is our SMS number, and info@ntvue.com. I can show you the email ID there, and in that email ID you can mail us your doubts and teacher can give you reply for the doubts. And welcome.
Good evening and welcome, my dear students. We are going to continue with solid state today. Solid state, the first lesson of 12th standard chemistry. Almost most of the theory portions we completed in the previous week. Today I will continue with the remaining portions, and after that we will do some question answers. Okay. Now today we are going to do continue with the imperfections in solids. Imperfections. Three types of imperfections are there in solids: stoichiometric defects, impurity defects, and non-stoichiometric defects. We discussed stoichiometric defects and impurity defects. Today I am going to tell you about non-stoichiometric defects. Which non-stoichiometric defects? This defect, this deviation will affect the stoichiometry of the compound. For example, you know what is stoichiometry of the compound. Okay, I will tell you. NaCl. According to the valency concept, the formula of this sodium chloride is 1 Na and 1 Cl. We exchange the valency and write to get the formula. Okay. So, sodium chloride's formula, according to stoichiometry, we say it is NaCl, because this plus 1, this one we have to put here and this one we have to put here. That is the rule of writing the formula. So, this is a stoichiometric compound. Suppose we are getting a compound by some method. Suppose we get a compound like this, Na1 plus X Cl. The ratio between this Na and Cl is not 1:1. Here the ratio between Na and Cl is 1:1, whereas in this compound the ratio between Na and Cl is not equal to 1:1. Here Na is little greater than what we expect. It should be 1:1, but here due to some reason Na 1 plus X, whereas Cl 1. Okay. So, this type of compounds are known as non-stoichiometric compounds. So, today's imperfection what we are going to study, it will lead to a non-stoichiometry in the compound, and let us see how it happens. There are three such types of defects we have to study. One is metal excess defect. Metal excess defect. Due to anion vacancy. Metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. Okay, how this metal excess defect due to anion vacancy, and how is it possible? We have sodium chloride, we know sodium chloride plus minus like the sodium chloride. We know how to draw the structure of sodium chloride. Here again plus, here minus, like that, plus minus. Like the sodium chloride crystal we have with the stoichiometry NaCl. Suppose one anion is leaving its site, one anion goes out of the site, Cl goes out, it is not occupying here in this interstitial site, it goes out of the site. So, number of Na will increase by 1, or number of Cl, the anion, will decrease by 1. Now, it becomes of this formula. Before it was NaCl, the 100 Na and 100 Cl means NaCl it is. Now, Cl became 1 in less number. That means Na 1 plus X and Cl. So, Cl leaves its site, cation metal is now with excess, but electrical neutrality should be maintained. For that, what happens is one electron will be trapped in that site. So, electrical neutrality will be retained. We know that in a solid, electrical neutrality should be ionic solid, electrical neutrality should be always retained. You can see the monitor, see the diagram over there, impurity defect, that is not, sorry, below that non-stoichiometric defect, metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. Metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. There A plus and B minus, you can see A plus and B minus, A plus is Na plus and B minus is Cl minus, and one of the Cl minus is leaving the site and its position is occupied by an electron. Okay. The position anion vacancy occupied by electron is known as F center. F center meaning Farben center, that is a German word, and its meaning is color center, because sodium chloride table salt, we know it is colorless. It is white in color. This sodium chloride is having yellow color. The color is due to the presence of this electron in the anion site, and also the sodium chloride is paramagnetic also. Again, that is due to the presence of this single electron in the anion vacancy. Now, how to get this particular sodium chloride, how we can get with this metal excess, how we can get the sodium chloride? You take normal sodium chloride, heat it in an atmosphere of Na. Take normal sodium chloride, heat it in an atmosphere of sodium. Then what happens is, one of the Cl minus ions will come, it will react with this Na. We have Na vapors over there. The Cl minus will react with this Na to give NaCl and what? One electron. That electron will move and it will occupy from where that Cl minus has come out. Okay, one Cl minus will come out of the crystal, it will react with that sodium vapor, and this Cl when react with this Na, you will get NaCl, and one electron is left, also released. That electron will come and it will occupy in the site where Cl minus was already there. Okay, so that is what, how we get this F center. So this is metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. Now let us move on to the next type of non-stoichiometric defect, that is again metal excess defect, that is due to extra cation. Metal excess defect due to extra cation. Extra cation. So before it was metal excess defect due to anion vacancy, now metal excess defect due to extra cation. Again the formula, suppose this is the compound we are going to study with that metal excess defect with extra cation. Again the formula, according to the stoichiometry, the formula of zinc oxide is ZnO. But due to the presence of this extra cation, this 1:1 ratio will change and the formula will become Zn 1 plus XO. Means it is not 1:1, Zn will be little more than what we expect. Okay. Now how this is possible? Look at the diagram over there, you can see the diagram, metal excess defect due to extra cation. One M plus is occupying. Where is that M plus occupying? M plus is occupying in the interstitial site. We know that electrical neutrality of ionic solid is an important thing, it should be maintained always. If one M plus is occupying in the interstitial site, one electron also should be occupied, one of the interstitial sites should be occupied by an electron also, then only that electrical neutrality will be maintained. So we can see an M plus in the interstitial site and also one electron in the interstitial site. Okay. Now how is it possible? Take the zinc oxide and heat it. Take the zinc oxide, that is white in color, you heat it strongly. Then what happens? It will decompose to give Zn2 plus half O2 plus electron. Zn2 plus half O2 plus electron, 2 electrons are produced. This oxygen gas which is produced will be released to the atmosphere. Zn2 plus produced will be trapped in the interstitial site and the electrons produced are also trapped in the interstitial site. Okay. So this is Zno, that is before heating it is white in color. After heating this Zno, it becomes yellow in color, pale yellow in color, due to what? Again due to the presence of these electrons in the interstitial site. Electrons, when light falls on this electron, what happens is electrons will be getting excited to some other levels, and for this process energy will be absorbed, and as a result we can see the complementary color. Okay. So due to the presence of electron, this Zno also becomes what? Colored, and previously we have seen metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. There also electron was responsible for the color, but remember here the electron which is present is in in the anion vacancy, that is known as F center. Here the electron is not present in the F center, it is present, where is it present? It is present in the interstitial site. So questions will come like that, what is the reason for the color of sodium chloride? There we will write F centers or electron present in the anion vacancy, and what is the color of ZNO means that answer is wrong. There we have to write electrons trapped in the interstitial site. So two types of metal excess defect we have seen, and one more type of non-stoichiometric defect is there, that is metal deficiency defect. So one is metal excess defect, two types were there. Now number 2, that is metal deficiency defect. Metal deficiency defect. What is this metal deficiency defect? Here this is metal excess defect. We understood what is metal excess defect, just like that. You know the formula of iron ferrous oxide is FeO. This is +2 oxidation state, this is -2 oxidation state. According to the stoichiometry, according to the valency principle, the formula of ferrous oxide is FeO. But we have ferrous oxide of this formula. I will write once again, Fe 0.950. Look at this. Is it in the 1:1 proportion? No. Actually, it should be in the proportion 1:1 proportion iron and oxygen, but here iron and oxygen say 0.95:1, means iron is present less in amount than oxygen. Now, how is it possible? Metal deficiency defect, how is it possible? This is possible. Here again plus minus like that arrangement we can draw. Suppose one Fe2 plus ion is leaving its site, one Fe2 plus ion leaves its site, then what happens? Two positive charges, this crystal is becoming in short of two positive charges. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality, the other two Fe2 plus will get converted to Fe3 plus. So one Fe2 plus will leave the site. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality, in order to adjust those two positive charge, two Fe2 plus ions present in the site will get converted to Fe3 plus. So electrical neutrality will be maintained, but the number of ion will become less. I think you understood. One Fe2 plus will leave the site. In order to maintain that electrical neutrality, to balance that two positive charges, two Fe2 plus already present in the site will get converted to 3 plus. 3 plus 3 plus. So two positive charges will get compensated. So what happens? The iron, the number of iron Fe's number will decrease. So metal deficiency and the electrical neutrality will be maintained. And here one point is very important. Only what type of elements can show this type of defect? Elements which can exhibit what? Variable oxidation state. Which elements are exhibiting variable oxidation state? Metals. Which metals are exhibiting variable oxidation state? Transition metals are exhibiting variable oxidation state. So transition metal compounds show this type of defect. This iron oxide is there, nickel oxide is there, etc., etc. Cuprous oxide is there. These are all examples of compounds showing metal deficiency defect. So we did imperfections, that is non-stoichiometric imperfections, metal excess defect and metal deficiency defect. Now let us move on to the next type, that is electronic defect, that is something different. You know semiconductors, silicon, germanium, etc. are semiconductors. These semiconductors, what is the meaning of semiconductors? Metals are all good conductors of electricity, but metallic conductivity depends upon means according to the conductivity of these metals, the range of conductivity of these metals. We can classify metals into conductors, semiconductors and insulators. Conductors are very good in conducting electricity. Semiconductors comes in between the conductivity ranges between the conductors and the insulators. So silicon is an example of a semiconductor. But that semiconductivity we can increase, that conductivity we can increase if you add some other elements into it in order to increase the number of free electrons or to increase the number of positive holes. So this is what is known as electronic defects and how we can create electronic defect. Look at the monitor, see the diagram over there. Silicon atom is there. In a silicon crystal, each silicon atom is surrounded by 4 other silicon atoms. Silicon atom has 4 valence electrons around it, and each silicon atom forms 4 bonds with the neighboring 4 silicon atoms. When we replace one silicon atom, silicon is in group 14, when we replace one silicon atom with a group 15 element, say arsenic, group 15 element, arsenic. what is the peculiarity of what is the difference between this group 14 element and this group 15 element? Group 15 element, 5 valence electrons are there around it. So, replace one silicon atom with one arsenic atom, then what we can see is, out of the 5 valence electrons, 4 are utilized for forming 4 bonds with the nearby silicon atoms, and 1 electron is free in this arsenic. That electron is just free over there, and it is marked in that diagram. You can see it is marked as mobile electron, or we call it as delocalized electron. Delocalized electron. So, out of the 5 electrons, 4 are used for forming bonds with the 4 silicon atom, and 1 electron which is free over there is known as a delocalized electron, and we all know that electrons are the carriers of current. Because of the presence of this free electron, this delocalized electron, the semiconductivity of the silicon will be increased. Same like that, instead of taking this group 15 element, you take a group 13 element. Group 13 element, say boron, you take boron, see the diagram in the monitor, take boron, put that boron in the silicon crystal, replace one of the silicon atom by using a boron atom. Then what happens? Boron has only how many electrons in its valence shell? It has only 3 electrons in the valence shell. Those 3 electrons are utilized for forming 3 bonds with the neighboring 3 silicon atoms. And what about the other bond? One more bond is there. A silicon has to form how many bonds? 4 bonds with its neighboring atoms. So, one bond is there without, you can see that diagram. There is a bond. A bond should be over there, but that bond is not formed. Why? Boron has only 3 electrons, it is in short of 1 electron. So, actually there is no bond in its place. There is single electron in that place, and we call it as an electron deficient bond or an electron hole. Okay, that is the terminology in solid state. Actually there is no bond over there, an electron deficient bond or a positive hole. And this positive hole is also responsible for carrying current. How this positive hole is responsible for carrying current? Because when you keep this particular substance in an electric field, a positive and negative plate is there, what happens is an electron from the neighboring bond will jump into this positive hole, and this positive hole will be created in the place of from where that electron is jumping. So, what actually happens is electrons are moving in one direction and this positive hole will move in the other direction. Electrons will move in one direction towards the positive plate, and the electron hole will be moving towards the negative plate. Actually this particular hole has no charge. We simply call it as positive hole because this hole is moving towards which plate? The positive plate. So we call it as the positive hole, and actually the carriers of current are the electrons, but we name it as what? The carriers of current are the positive holes. Therefore this type of conductor is termed as the p-type conductor. P-type conductor. So when a group 14 element is doped with group 13 element, we will get a p-type conductor, and the group 14 element, when it is doped with group 15 element, there is a delocalized electron. Electrons are the carriers of current there, and we call it as a normal conductor, that is n-type conductor. These two type of semiconductors now we developed, n-type and p-type. They are known as extrinsic semiconductors, and the semiconductivity, we increase the semiconductivity, and this increase in semiconductivity is due to what? Due to electronic imperfections, either due to the presence of delocalized electrons or due to the presence of positive hole. Okay. So this is electronic defect. Now let us see what is next. So this much about imperfections in solid. Now we have to see electrical properties of solid, that I am not going to explain much. Electrical property, the conductivity of solid is explained by quantum mechanics, the quantum theory, and quantum mechanics, molecular orbital theory. We know how we can explain conductors, semiconductors and insulated by using this quantum mechanics. Born theory, that is the theory based on quantum mechanics to explain conductors, semiconductors and insulators. What is this Born theory? We know that if you take sodium atom, we know electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3s1. We know the electronic configuration of sodium atom. Now you take a sodium crystal. How many atoms are there in the sodium crystal? We don't know. Millions of atoms are there. So many atoms are there. So how many 1s orbitals are there in a sodium crystal? Many 1s orbitals are there. How many 2s orbitals are there? Many 2s orbitals are there. So what happens is, in a sodium crystal, all the 1s orbitals, suppose 1000 sodium atoms are there, all the 1000 sodium atoms 1s orbital will combine to give molecular orbital. How many molecular orbital? Last year you studied 11th standard, you studied that 2 1s orbitals will combine to give 2 molecular orbitals. Like that 1000 1s orbital can combine to give how many molecular orbital? 1000 1s molecular orbitals are formed. Those 1000 1s molecular orbital, when you draw, you have to draw it very closely. I simply said 1000, many millions will be there. So it looks like a band. Okay, when you draw the 1s molecular orbital of a sodium crystal, it looks like a band. So we are getting a 1s band. So sodium crystal. Now I am going to write the configuration of sodium crystal. Here this is 1s orbital, 2s orbital, 2p orbital, etc. in sodium atom, whereas in a sodium crystal 1s band is there, 2s band is there, 2p band is there. Remember what is this band? These bands are molecular orbitals. 3s band is there. Okay. 1s band will be completely filled because 1s atomic orbital is completely filled. 2s band is completely filled because here 2s atomic orbital is completely filled. 2p band is also completely filled because 2p atomic orbital is completely filled. Now let us take this 3s band. 3s band half filled in the case of sodium atom. So in the case of sodium crystal also, this 3s band will be half filled. Now I am going to draw the 3s band over here, the 3s band of sodium, that is half filled. This highest energy occupied band is called valence band. Valence band. So this is the 3s band in sodium. Here we have 3p band. We don't want that 3p band for the explanation. So this is the 3s band. 3p band is there completely unoccupied. The lowest energy unoccupied band is known as the conduction band. This is known as the conduction band. So in the case of sodium metal, valence band is there. Valence band is halfly filled. Conduction band is also there. Conduction band is very close to this valence band. You can explain the conductivity of sodium metal in terms of band theory. Either in this vacant space, in this half filled valence band, these electrons can freely move, or the energy gap between the conduction band and the valence band very less. Sometimes it will be overlapping. These electrons can move into this conduction band also. Here we need this valence band is half filled, so electrons can freely move in this valence band. So sodium metal is a very good conductor of electricity. Okay. Now when you take magnesium metal, atomic number is 12, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, etc., it ends with 3s2. Okay, this is 3s2, the last orbital. So 1s band in the magnesium crystal, we have 1s band, 2s band, 3s, like that 2p band. And when we come to the 3s band, here the atomic orbital 3s is completely filled. So 3s band is also completely filled. In the case of magnesium, the 3s valence band is completely filled. But we know that magnesium is a better conductor than sodium because it has 2 valence electrons per atom. Okay. So why? How will you explain? This is because this is the valence band, but conduction band is also there. The 3p orbital is there. We know that the third principal level has 3s, 3p, 3d, etc. are there. So this 3p conduction band is there. It is overlapping with this valence band. So these electrons can freely move here. That is why magnesium is a better conductor than sodium. 2 electrons per atom. So explanation for conductors, this much about band theory. Now when you come to the semiconductors, what is the explanation? When you come to the semiconductors, the valence band will be completely filled, sometimes almost filled. Okay, let us take it as completely filled, and the conduction band little away from the valence band. Conduction band will be little away from the valence band. So under normal condition, electrons from this valence band, I am not writing the full thing, this is the conduction band. Electron from the valence band cannot jump into this conduction band. But when you increase the temperature, at higher temperature, electrons can jump, can cross this energy barrier and the electron can jump into this valence conduction band. So, when the temperature increases, the conductivity also increases for a semiconductor. Now, when we come to insulators, semiconductor example already we have seen silicon, germanium, etc. When we come to insulators, that is carbon, wood, etc. Valence band is completely filled. Now, I am talking about insulators. Valence band is completely filled. Conduction band, where is the position of conduction band? Okay, valence band, let it be over here, completely filled. Conduction band will be somewhere over here. Even at a high temperature, the electron from the valence band cannot jump into this conduction band. Okay, this big energy gap is known as forbidden zone. Forbidden zone. Electrons cannot jump from the valence band to the conduction band. The energy gap is so much. Okay, now you can see the diagram over there. See the picture. First diagram is explaining the conductivity of sodium metal. Second diagram is explaining the conductivity of magnesium metal, that is overlapping conduction band and valence band. The third picture is representing insulator, that is forbidden zone is there, valence band and conduction band far away, and the last picture is representing semiconductors. There is a small energy gap between the valence band and the conduction band. So, when you increase the temperature, the electron can move into this empty conduction band. Okay. So, electrical properties of solid we can explain like that. Now, magnetic properties of solid, actually that explanation I am not going to give so much explanation. We know there are different types of magnetic properties are there: paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic and antiferromagnetic. Paramagnetic, whatever it is, magnetic property is due to the presence of unpaired electron. Here the three diagrams are there, the three pictures are there. Those three pictures represents ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic and ferrimagnetic substance. In a ferromagnetic substance, see the diagram, all the magnetic moments are aligned in the same direction. So, once it is magnetized, this will be a magnet forever. Then antiferromagnetic substance, the magnetic domains are aligned, how it is aligned in a compensatory way, so that the net magnetic moment is equal to 0. And the last diagram is antiferromagnetic, ferrimagnetic substance, magnetic moments are aligned in such a way that there is a net magnetic moment, but not like the ferromagnetic substance. Okay. Now, I think that lesson is over. We are going to discuss some important questions. Okay, now it is time for a small break. Let us go for a small break. After that, I am going to discuss some important questions. Okay.